Alright guys, so for this video, I'm actually going to name each product as I go, and then I will make sure to have everything listed down in the bottom bar. The first thing I have down is this nice, just little garbage rag I always use to do my nails. So you just want to have kind of like a buffer between your table and your workspace. And then my workspace is just these lovely paper towels. And then the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and use some 100% acetone. You can use regular acetone as well. And I'm going to use this cotton round to just go over my nails to make sure that all the oil is removed. This is just going to help to prevent lifting by prepping the nails. Then I'm going to go ahead and use this orange buffer. This one is the medium fine buffer. I just get these at Sally's. They're very affordable. So I grab the soft side and I just use that to gently remove any shine from my nails. You don't want to do this too rough because then your nails will begin to be too thin, and then that's when you'll notice that your natural nails won't be strong anymore and they'll just start breaking. Now the next thing I'm going to use is this Gelish PH Bond. It's basically a dehydrator. It's going to do something similar as the acetone. It's going to absolutely make sure that there's no oil. So I'm going to be using 3 different dip powders today. The first one is going to be the Kiara Sky Pure White Powder. The second one is going to be the Revel Nail D71 Scarlett Flawless Pink Powder. And then the last one is going to be the Revel Nail D75 Vivian Clear Powder. I'm going to put the clear one to the side for now because we're going to use these 2 first. And then our bond is going to be the Revel Nail Pro Base. Now, a little quick tip that I wanted to mention before I start the video is I did buy their gel thinner, and they recommended that to apply 2 to 3 drops into the bottle before and after application. The reason being is that these liquids can get thick over time. I did save one that did go thick on me. As you can tell, it's so thick that the bubble inside is barely moving. I've literally been saving this just to show you guys. Like, this is upside down, totally upside down, and that bubble is like barely moving. So when it's at this point, it's basically unusable. If you try to use it, your nails are just gonna look absolutely terrible. So to help prevent that, the biggest thing you want to do is just make sure that this doesn't come in contact with the other liquids. You try to clean it off. If it starts to get too gunky, you could wipe it on a lint-free paper towel. And lastly, you can also just apply this gel thinner. So I applied 3 drops now. I will most likely apply 3 drops later, and then you want to go ahead and mix it up. See, our bubble is just moving around like crazy. That's what you want. Another tip to help you is that when you remove the brush from the bottle, make sure to wipe all the gel down. You don't want to get too much on this top layer because then your bottle will become very difficult to open. And we're going to do 1 full sweep of the nail. Make sure to cover all the edges. And the trick to this is you want to insert your nail at an angle. And you're going to tap your nail, and then you're going to insert your whole nail into your light pink. Then brush off the excess powder. I am using this bamboo brush. I do remember in my last video, a lot of people were having trouble finding it. You don't have to use something like this. You can also just use a regular makeup brush. Anything that's just kind of soft like this is basically what you're looking for. You can use a kabuki brush or anything like that. But then you're just gonna brush off the excess. And then we're gonna go ahead and do it one more time. And that is what you're left with. So it's just a very easy way to do a French manicure using dip powder. And then as a third coat, instead of going in with your colors again, we're just gonna go ahead and go in with our clear. And this is just gonna help protect our design. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my nails, and then I'll show you guys the next step. So now that we've finished dipping all our nails, I'm going to use the Activator, and this is basically what's going to help all the dip powder just to harden. So I'm going to give a generous coat of that, and then you're going to wait 2 minutes for it to dry. This is the main liquid that you don't want to mix with your pro base or your top coat. Now while this is drying, I wanted to give you guys a couple of tips. The first one is going to be your powder. Between dipping, every time you dip your nail, see it leaves this kind of pattern in the powder. So before you re-dip your nail again, you just want to make sure to tap it so that way you have a nice flat surface. The next tip I want to give you is that when you're dipping your white for your French tip, try to only dip up to where your natural nail bed ends. Don't dip too far. The next things I want to mention is that you don't have to use the pink. I like to because, as you can tell, it does give you that very classic French white contrast, but you could just go ahead and use clear. I've done that before, and then this part has just been basically the nail color. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that you also don't have to do clear over the whole design. You could just leave it with the 2 coats of the pink and white. I like to do the clear over top because that just really ensures that you'll keep your design while you're filing. So it's less chance of you filing down your design. The next thing I'm going to use is my purple filing block. This one is just the one that's tougher, but because this is the roughest one, you want to make sure that you're not over buffing and therefore getting rid of your design. You just want to buff until your nail has a nice smooth layer. And just a little tip, when you do have new either nail files or nail blocks, these edges can be pretty treacherous, so you can actually cut yourself. But a little trick for that is taking another nail file and just kind of going over it so that way this softens and then there's less chance of you hurting yourself. And the same with a nail file, you can do it over the edge right here so that you're not cutting yourself. So once you have a pretty smooth surface, you want to go ahead and use the orange one from earlier just to help smooth the surface. And then to shape the nail, I have a few different ones. I have this one, these are all from Sally's. I don't know exactly what the grit is anymore. I want to say it was like 160 or something like that because, as you can tell, it's like rubbed off. But basically it's not the roughest one, but it's also not the smoothest one. It's kind of in the middle. And then we're going to use that to do the edges here and then to actually shape the nail to make it square. And a little trick for making the nail square is instead of filing it like this, you're actually going to file it down like this and come back to this side just to make sure everything is nice and straight and smooth. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use another file, but this one's going to be to really smooth out the surface. Now, I have this one in a file. I also have it in a buffer. You could find both at Sally's. So I'm going to use this one to smooth surface first. And this is what's going to help give your nail a nice shine. That way when you apply your top coat in a second, your nails are just going to be the absolute shiniest. Now this one you can usually feel has the teeniest bit of like ridges on it. Now we're going to use this one. This one is almost perfectly smooth. It's called the Super Shine. This is the one that's really going to give it almost like that gloss. See, look at that shine. There's no top coat on there. That is literally just the nail. So now I'm going to go ahead and do all those same steps on the rest of my nails. Okay, so now that we're all buffed, I'm going to go ahead and take my brush again, try to get rid of as much dust as we can. Then I'm going to fold my napkin. And that's mainly just to make sure that while we're doing the rest of the steps that no dust particles get in the way. So we're going to take our activator and we're going to do another coat. This is going to ensure that the nail is hardened and also it's what's going to help the top coat to dry quickly. So now we're gonna wait 2 minutes for this to totally dry. And while we wait, I just wanted to give you another tip. As far as when you're actually dipping your nail, make sure that you are doing it at kind of a 45-degree angle. If you dip it straight, you're gonna get a straight line. So you wanna dip it at that angle so you get that nice curve right there along the edges. After 2 minutes of this drying, you want to take either a lint-free cotton round or, like today, a lint-free paper towel, just anything lint-free, and you're going to go ahead and wipe down the nail surface to just absolutely confirm that all the activator is dry. If the activator is wet and you mix it with your finishing gel, that is what's going to cause your finishing gel to start hardening. Next, I'm going to take my Revel Nail Finish Gel. I have already added 3 drops of the gel thinner and mixed that up. So I'm going to open this up. Again, trying to make sure that I don't get too much of the gel on the edges. And then we're going to do one quick and thin pass over on each nail. Then after about 15 seconds, I'm gonna go ahead back to my first nail, and now I can do a slower, thicker coat. Okay, so now I'm gonna wait about 2 to 3 minutes to let that completely dry. Little things to avoid is you don't want to put it under a fan, you don't want to blow on them, and you don't want to wave your hand around. That can actually cause the shine to dull. So you really just want to be very patient and just let your hands sit there for about 2 to 3 minutes. So now that they are fully dry, and you can always make sure by tapping them that they have that nice click, I'm gonna go ahead and take the Gelish Nutrition. Now this is just basically a cuticle oil. You can use whatever cuticle oil you want. I don't necessarily have a preference for this one. It's just what I had at my house. But honestly, after this finishes, I'll most likely just start using like a regular oil, like argan oil or even olive oil. You basically just want something thick and hydrating that's gonna really nourish those cuticles. And we're gonna rub that in. And that's it, guys. That is how you guys can easily achieve a French manicure using dip nail. As I've mentioned before, I am not a licensed nail tech. These are all things that I've just learned, you know, just here at home playing around. Dip nail is something that you definitely have to practice with. It takes a lot of time, but as you can tell, it comes out really pretty and it's very durable. These will most likely last me 2 to 3 weeks now, which is awesome because that's 2 to 3 weeks. I don't have to worry about my nails. So that's basically it, guys. If you guys like this video and you want more videos like this, give this a big thumbs up. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Bye!